Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. This morning we are back at the Starling Nature Sanctuary. Back to try again with the RF 600 STM. Try it maybe with a little bit more light, see how we do, and try a couple different settings. See if maybe we can get some better images. But since things didn't really turn out the last time, rather than just kind of throw in the towel, I wanted to try it a little differently. So we're gonna hike our way down to the lake and then set up and try to take some more images, and I'll get back to you then. So we're gonna roll our intro and then I'll get back to you. Stay tuned. So what are we going to do differently this morning than we did the last time we were out to try to get a little better results with this? Well, typically what I've been doing is I've been limiting the ISO to 12,800, and what happens when you do that, you know, first of all, the reason why I do that is because of noise. I want to try to keep as much noise out as possible. The flip side of that is, though, as you do that, if it limits how much you can elevate your shutter speed. So when you're shooting something that could be moving at a lower shutter speed, or a 600 millimeter lens, if you're shooting less than 1/600th of a second, you're going to get motion blur potentially, or out of the camera. It certainly potentially makes your images less sharp. So what I thought I'd try this morning is I took that 12,800 limit off, all right, and I'm allowing it to go up to the full range of what this camera can do, which is 51,000 something. I forget the exact number, 51.8 maybe, something like that, 51.6. But, and I actually think it'll double that. But at this point, I'm letting it go all the way up to that, all right? Which is allowing me then to elevate my shutter speed. So hopefully we can get some of that blur out potentially from the movement. Now, I'm still going to have noise, and maybe we can deal with that in post-processing and make it look a little bit better. We won't know till we get home, get a chance to look at it. But that's what we're trying to do this morning, all right, is use this lens to do that. So I'm going to take some images. We'll talk a little bit more about what I see, all right, how things turn out. So hold on. All right, so we've been out here taking some images, all right, and taking a look at the back of my camera. There's some of the ISOs. I'm running anywhere from 5,000, well, up above 12.8. Shutter, I'm trying to shoot at 1/1000th of a second right now. The sun is coming up over here to my right. It's a beautiful morning. The real question is can anything, or will anything, turn out, at least in a usable fashion using this lens. Now, there's a blue heron down here up on a stump just up from me here. Nice perched up on that stump. It's a great picture, especially with the sun coming up. The light's hitting him. Absolutely terrific. See if I can maybe video a little bit of that. All right, so as you can see, we are videoing something different than a blue heron. All right, the heron that I was going to video, well, he flew off before I could get set up. Of course, now you got my shaky hands, and I'm trying to find where that egret flew off to, which I will find. There he is. All right. The 600 F11 STM seems to work pretty good for video, you know, but from a photo standpoint, hard to say. Like I just took a couple images that were 16,000 ISO at 1/1000th of a second. We'll have to see what those look like when we get done post-processing. But certainly I find it to be very capable as a video lens. The only negative here is obviously because it's got such a, you know, it's 600mm. Videoing with it is pretty hard to do and keeping it stable, especially if your subject isn't that far away. Kind of like what happened to me there with the bird or the egret flying off. Trying to find it and keep on it, it's kind of tough to do when you're trying to do it on a tripod and you have to move quite a bit, but it's still, you know, I'm not the greatest videographer, but the lens itself seems to perform just fine. Also, if you're wondering, yes, I'm videoing this on the R5. Alright, so one of the things I'm doing this morning that I haven't done in the past, besides using the R5 for a little bit of video there, which you'll see in the, hopefully if that footage works out. Alright, one of the other things I'm doing is I'm using the autofocus with eye detection. And it seems to be working pretty well, to be honest. I mean, better than I expected it to, especially in these lighting conditions. It does hunt a little bit here and there, but it does work pretty well. So if that's something you're wondering about, the R5 with the, you know, eye detection autofocus, and I'm not even sure, I didn't look to see when I switched to it if I have it set for animal, if I have it set for human, but either way it still seems to be working out pretty well. Lighting this morning is really pretty good. Really surprised at how nice it is, to be perfectly honest. You know, and this, with the sun coming straight at me like this, I'm actually seeing some images come out of here with ISOs even down as low as 1,000 with 1/1000th of a second shutter speed. That's probably the best I've ever seen with this particular lens. So maybe there is, you know, maybe there is some hope for this thing. After the last outing, I was ready to pick this up and toss it in the trash. It was so frustrating, but it's an inexpensive 600mm, and that's a good thing. You know, because a lot of the RF glass, the RF glass is pretty expensive, so this is pretty affordable and pretty reasonable compared to most of the other things that are out there. You know, and I continually have said over all my other, or not all my other videos, but in my other videos or other videos that I've made, is, you know, use what you have, get out there and work with it and capture images, which is what I'm doing this morning. This is certainly, you know, I'd love to have the RF 600 F4, but you know, what is it, $14,000-$15,000? That's just not doable for pretty much 99% of the world, you know. So we got to get out and shoot with what we have, and this is a pretty affordable lens, you know, relatively speaking. You know, it's what, $700, but you know, you got to be able to capture something that you enjoy at the same time. Yeah, bird flew off on me. So, all right. I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna check out the images and see how they turned out, and I'll throw in whatever I get here at the end. Hopefully something turns out. You know, if it does, great. If it doesn't, at least I gave it a shot. You know, that's what I encourage you to do. Just get outside, enjoy life, use what you have. You know, take images that appeal to you, make you happy. All right, because that's the most important thing, is you're taking images for yourself. All right, so we'll end the video here. Remind everybody to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, one thing I'd love to know is, you know, what would you like to see me make videos of? Am I doing the things you like? You know, or would you prefer that I do something else? It seems like I get my best views when I do product reviews. You know, I really don't want to do product reviews. I don't like doing product reviews. I like being out in the field and just like taking pictures, you know, and sharing those experiences with people. But I'm not opposed to doing, you know, product reviews. It's just something that, you know, my preference is to get outside and just take images. So, all right, we'll end here. You know, thank everybody for coming along. You know, until we see you again, stay safe.